Roblox is home to an incredibly creative fan base where players throughout the years have come to create genres of the game to shape the platform to what it is. However, as Roblox has grown to unbelievable numbers, many Roblox developers have lost sight of what made the game enjoyable in the first place, coming at the cost of the platform's original charm. Let me explain. It is no secret that Roblox has been pioneered by its early users. It just makes sense. Users whom we now refer as OGs set the path, the blueprint which allowed others to follow in their footsteps. Take for instance Stick Master Luke's games in 2011. Welcome to the town of Robloxia was known for its ability to act out different roles in a town. You can be a taxi driver or a news reporter, and the town was full of places to explore and things to do. The simple yet effective approach taken by a town-based game to hook the small but eager Roblox audience was commendable, something many developers couldn't quite figure out. Because Roblox was one of the first of its kind, there was a lack of structure for making successful Roblox games. It's hard to picture, but Roblox started off with only spheres, wedges, and rectangles. There were no advanced engines, high-quality textures, or complex scripting capabilities. These limitations, although seeming a disadvantage at the time, were a miracle in disguise, but we'll get to that later. For now, let's turn our attention to a situation that plagued Roblox developers for a little. During this time of Roblox, it's important to note that OGs who innovated in one way or another weren't quite called developers by the community, more so just unrecognized. The term developer was used in a nitpicky way, only given to the top Roblox creators who had previously established themselves by having their game on the top of Roblox's discovery page, and not for developers who were on the rise. But perhaps more importantly than their given titles or their creations was the community they fostered. These OGs formed tight-knit groups, sharing tips and encouragement with one another. As time passed, their influence only grew. New generations of users looked to these OGs for inspiration, eager to learn from the masters who had come before them. And while the platform continued to evolve, the spirit of those early pioneers remained at its core. But something that didn't remain was the spirit of some players. After interviewing several longtime Roblox users, few shared how they never anticipated the game's rise.
At most, the platform will fall off the face of the universe after the next big thing comes out.
But a majority expressed something that, let's just say, was eye-opening.
Just like, there's always been this, let's call fear, that something bad was slowly creeping up on the platform, that eventually will dawn upon us.
This had left me confused. Something bad was slowly creeping up on the platform. What can that even mean? It took me a while to finally piece together the puzzle, but it made sense. As Roblox evolved, the platform began attracting a broader range of developers, including those with more interest in, let's just say, cashing out. Initially, the paywall monetization was subtle.
Not bad, I'll buy it.
However, the introduction of more severe paywalls forever marked a turning point in Roblox's history. In recent years, certain games began to implement systems where crucial parts of gameplay or special areas was restricted behind a paywall. When the issue of blatant paywalls was brought up on the Roblox forums, it was met with mixed feelings. On one hand, developers argued that they need to monetize their games for revenue to justify the time spent on development. On the other hand, players claimed that those who couldn't afford to pay often felt sidelined, their experience watered down. Inevitably, it seemed that the countless posts within Roblox's forums ended with the developers refusing to budge, and no significant changes were made, even to this day. However, a good point came up a couple times, something often overlooked by many, mainly because of the fact that it was such an old system. What I'm talking about is ticks per visit. If you don't know what that is, don't worry, I'll briefly go over it. Previously in Roblox's ecosystem, both Robux and tickets, formerly known as ticks, were used as currencies within the platform. With tickets, you were able to purchase items in the catalog such as clothing and all that mumbo jumbo. The way to gain ticks was through various actions, but for the sake of this video, we'll concentrate on one method. People visiting your place, or like previously stated, ticks per visit. Now that everyone is on the right track, let's continue. There was a suggestion of reworking the ticks per visit system, and this idea got a ton of attention. It was simple. Rather than gaining tickets per game visit, you gain Robux per game visit. It was difficult to disagree with. In a sense, it solves the issue of developers and their need for highly priced game passes, or as I like to call it, money-hungry behavior. Roblox was and has grown to the point where now remotely every game can thrive, especially now that millions of people play the top games in a day's worth. Long story short, the suggestions seem to fall through and fizzled out like many of the suggestions shared within Roblox's universe. This seems to be for the greater good, since as intriguing as the idea may have been, it would require careful consideration of various factors, including the potential impact on the platform's economy, which recently doesn't look too good. If you recall near the beginning of the video, I briefly discussed how the limitations of early day Roblox worked to its advantage. Because Roblox was one of the first of its kind, there were no advanced engines, high quality textures, or complex scripting capabilities. But I left out an explanation. Instead, I left it open for you, the audience, to in one way or another come up with your own interpretation until I revisit the topic. So bear with me one more time as we rewind, go back in time, and finally fill you in. These limitations, although seeming a disadvantage at the time, were a miracle in disguise because present-day developers lack a component that the old-time developers had, and that is... It isn't rocket science. Present-day developers have stopped putting in the effort as in the previous years. Even as short as a few years ago, the difference is drastic. A concrete way to illustrate the decline in effort is to highlight specific examples. So let's look at a popular game from 2021, Adopt Me. At its peak, Adopt Me featured excellent crafted environments and regular updates that introduced exciting new content while maintaining a high level of polish. The developers invested significant time and effort into every aspect of the game, from the design of virtual pets to the engaging activities players could partake in, and in return, the game flourished. Now, compare this to the majority of high-profile games currently on Roblox, where games are released with minimalistic designs and a lack of depth. The focus appears to have shifted to rapid content production rather than ensuring quality and player engagement. This lack of effort isn't just a problem faced by many developers, but by Roblox, the multi-billion-dollar company themselves. They lack effort. I'd like to point out the Roblox events that are being outsourced to us, the consumers. As of late, you could say the Roblox fanbase have been spoiled by an array of events. I'm talking about The Hunt, an event which included 100 partnered experiences, or The Classic, a smaller event themed around classic or old Roblox, but in all honesty, they've missed the mark. Many took to the internet showcasing their outrage for how poorly the events were organized. For instance, the Classic event that was meant to be themed around old Roblox involved no old games. A game that was created on February 16, 2024 was included in the event. To put this into perspective, the Classic event began on May 23, 2024, 3 months after the game's creation date. It is difficult to not see the problem. Roblox could simply have found and selected a Classic game in the same amount of time it took to choose a Dusty Trip as a partner in the event. Overall, this makes sense. If Roblox themselves don't entirely care about putting in effort, why should its developers? Why exceed the bar when the bar is set so low? This begs the question, do Roblox and its developers truly care about the direction the platform is heading? Well,
I guess we'll never know.